So dear friends, I am here once again and almost at the close of the month of November and the beginning of December. Some consider December as the best month for us in the year. Though it's the last month, it's the month with a lot of celebrations, especially our Christmas celebration, in which we involve everybody, the young, the old, the ones who are not able, the sick, and perhaps even the poor. We try to make them happy. And so to begin this Christmas season, rather the Christmas festivities, the Church has a special season for it. It's called the season of Advent. Like in the nature, after the summer season comes the rains, and after rainy season comes winter. So also the Church rotates the whole year, as it were, with seasons, different seasons. The Advent season, the Lenten season, the Paschal season. So these are the seasons of the year. And so we are beginning from today onwards what we call the Advent season. The word Advent is very important. It's a Latin word which means that coming. We are waiting for someone who is coming. And who it can be? Jesus himself who comes. And they say that there are 3 comings of Jesus, or 3 seasons of Jesus, the 3 welcoming types that we can speak of. The first one is he came into the world, he was born into the world, and therefore his birth is considered as the first coming. And you see in the scripture, Jesus has promised us that he will come once again at the end of times. That's the second coming. And perhaps the third coming, we can say that Jesus comes into our lives. We do not know where, how, perhaps through a particular person or some quotation or some saying, some inspiration, and therefore that is how he comes into our life. And so now we speak about Advent season. Surely people think perhaps it's a preparation for Christmas as such, but it's little more than that. This particular Advent, or rather the Advent season, prepares us for that coming of the Lord, that is the last season, the last times. The gospel of that we have this weekend is the gospel of Luke chapter 21. That speaks of the last things what happened. The sun will be moving, the moon and the stars perhaps will be shaking, the rivers, the seas will be uproar, earthquakes, and so many things of the last things. But then there is a word of consolation, or rather assurance for all of us. I would say there are 4 words which we have to take note of. First of all, stay awake. Stay awake. You have to stay awake because anything can happen, and we sleep normally at night, and anything can happen. Perhaps someone can come, someone can harm us, someone can rob us, and therefore stay awake. The second is stand erect, or rather stand in a standing position so that you are about to move. You are about to move, and you are about to do certain things that for which you are required. Stay awake doesn't mean that I stay in bed whole day. It means that I start working and doing the things that I am doing, so that when the Lord comes, he finds me working at something or other. Like that steward who told his servants that they should be awake, they should be doing something so that the master can come anytime. The third one is stay awake, stay alert, because you do not know when the day will come. You do not know when the day will come. It's a surprise. God's coming into our life itself is a big surprise. He doesn't announce it. In fact, the example is given of the thief. The thief doesn't tell anybody that he's going to come, that he's going to be robbing you, but he comes as a surprise. And fourthly, be watchful. Be watchful at all times. To wait. That's the style of life. And there are some people perhaps who spend a lot of time in meditation and reflection to say that how I should prepare myself for that day when God comes to me. God comes into our life. God comes to awaken us. God comes perhaps to surprise us and give us what we deserve. So this is the Advent season, the season of waiting. We have 4 Sundays that prepare us for the Advent proper. Perhaps we can say remotely, it could be said that we prepare for Christmas. But then, Jesus is not born every year. Jesus was born only once in the history. But then, the Church makes use of this sort of assurance for us to say that we have to prepare for that day when God will come into our lives. Take you to what we call Pope's intention. The Pope takes the intention of that is closest to us now in the next year, what's called the Pilgrims of Hope. We have had 3 years of preparation. 2023 was the year of learning. 2024 was the year of prayer. And the next year is going to be the year of hope. Therefore, the Holy Father prepares us in this monthly intention to pray that we may walk as pilgrims of hope. It's a beautiful thing. I have said many a time, we can only take that passage of Luke 24, what we call the Emmaus scene. Walking. Jesus walks with us. As he walked with the disciples, and they were all confused. What is happening? Why it is happening? Why should Jesus have died? Why he should have surrendered himself so much? So many things they say. But then Jesus, when they enter, they listen to him. One of the great things about this synod or synodality is listening. And they listen to him. And they realize that this, all that has happened, Jesus tells them, has happened because it had to happen. It had to happen. And he walks into their life, he walks into their existence, he gives a new meaning so that the disciples of Emmaus who were so discouraged and going back, now they return back to Jerusalem. Perhaps the year of hope that we are going to start is going to be a very special one for us. Christianity is known for its, to what we say, the characteristic to be hopeful. To be hopeful. Nothing is over. Nothing is ended. For that matter, nothing is impossible with God. You have to only think of that, the thief at the side of Jesus when he died. The good thief we call him. And you see that whole life he has wasted and plundered and killed. And just that last moment he gets a chance to have a small conversation with Jesus, and Jesus tells him tonight, or rather this day, you will be in paradise. Last moment. Which means nothing is sort of wasted on our side. So my dear friends, as we take up this intention of the Holy Father as pilgrims of hope, let us first of all be hopeful and give a reason for the others to be hopeful. There are a lot of things that are suggested for next year, which by and by we will try to place before you, so that each one of us, not only we are hopeful for ourselves, but we create signs and symbols of hope in the lives of others. I now take you to this great feast of ours, what we call the Feast of St. Francis Xavier. He's the patron of our Archdiocese, and surely on the 3rd of December we will be having a solemn Mass in the church, in the cathedral, and I've invited all the priests and religious especially to participate, because St. Francis Xavier is the patron saint of our Archdiocese. Of course, this year St. Francis relics in Goa are drawing a lot of people. Ever since 21st of November, when the relics were brought down from the Say Cathedral from the Basilica of Bon Jesu to the Say Cathedral, many people have been visiting, and I am told even from Bangalore, many people have gone and some have already planned to go. I think the Christmas holidays, many from Bangalore will be going to what we call to see and to pay homage to St. Francis Xavier in Goa. And here in Archdiocese, we are really fortunate. I think when we are one of those few dioceses who have St. Francis Xavier as their patron. Perhaps we can ask why perhaps St. Francis was named as the patron. First of all, ours is a missionary diocese. In spite of what we call the urban and the city cosmopolitan side of Bangalore, and today we have so many city parishes with a lot of people, with a lot of activities, but we have to remember that about 200 years ago, Bangalore was a mission area. It was part of the Mysore mission, and the MEP fathers and before that the Jesuits have worked as missionaries. And perhaps these missionaries thought, being a missionary area and St. Francis being the patron of the missions all over the world, that would be the best name or the best patron that we could have, and it was named as St. Francis Xavier Cathedral, and the cathedral patronage of the saint is taken up by the whole Archdiocese. I personally think also there might have been a little of another circumstance that might have prompted the early missionaries to name our cathedral as St. Francis Xavier Cathedral. I am told that the school of the St. Joseph of Tarbes sisters, what we call the St. Francis Xavier School, which is just behind the cathedral, of course was earlier than our own cathedral, and therefore it was named as St. Francis Xavier School. Perhaps there might have been some inspiration, because even then it was a school that was frequented by many and loved by many, and perhaps the missionaries may have also thought topical to name our Archdiocese as St. Francis Xavier Cathedral, and our Archdiocesan patron is St. Francis Xavier. So my dear friends, I wish you all a very happy feast of St. Francis Xavier, especially those churches in our Archdiocese, beginning with our own cathedral, that are named after St. Francis Xavier. We have some churches also named after St. Francis Xavier, Chikkamnalli and Pavgada, and some other places also, they are named as St. Francis Xavier. May St. Francis intercede for us constantly, first of all, to have that missionary spirit. Those who are looking after the cities, our convents, our sisters, fathers, but still to have that heart for missions. The heart for missions, always to say that the missionary work is really the highest type of work that we can do. I wish someday we could also send some priests of our Archdiocese to missions far away, not just for short periods, but as missionaries. Because we have received much from the missionaries, let us also learn to give or perhaps proclaim the gospel by our own priests, all parts of the world. I now speak to you about the CCBI pastoral plan. You know what's a pastoral plan? A pastoral plan is a plan for the whole church or the group of churches or an area as such that has been made with the pastoral theme in mind. As has been told to you, these last 3 years we have been preparing for this, what we call the Jubilee year 2025, and the Holy Father made us squarely to face what's called the synodality. Synodality means involving everybody, renewing everything, and at the same time focusing ourselves to the future. That's the synodality, and that's the sort of jubilee that we are going to celebrate this next year, 2025. But then the church doesn't want to stop at 2025. The CCBI, the Catholic Conference of Bishops of India, said that we have to have a long-term plan. How long? Perhaps you can make it up to 2033. 2033 is a very special year. We say 2000 years of Christianity. If Jesus was born in the year 2000, we celebrate as a great jubilee. 2033 would be the year that he died and rose again. And from there, perhaps the missionaries, the apostles, went forward and went all over the world. So therefore, this particular 2033 is a very significant year. The CBCI, the Conference of the Catholic Bishops of India, has envisaged a pastoral journey towards the Synodal Church 2033, wherein we celebrate the 2000th anniversary of the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And so we can ask ourselves, 2033, is it a just figure? Is it just a chronological milestone? Or perhaps what does God want from us, from the Church in India, to be done by the time of 2033? And so the question the pastoral plan would like to answer is, where does God want the Church in India to be in 2033? What is God's grand vision for the Church in India? And so this particular pastoral plan that has been worked about by about 5,000 bishops, priests, religious, lay people, and the different sections of the people have prepared a pastoral plan, which was announced, or rather news of it was given last Sunday in all the churches. And now perhaps we start what we call unfolding the plan, at the same time implementing the pastoral plan. The plan has been spiritually discerned over a period of 1 year with consultation with more than 5,000 people, and all of us are called in a very special way to become stakeholders. No one is outside. No, this is a plan by the church, so therefore I am not involved in it, I am not worried about it. Not necessarily. We are all in it. It's our plan. And we have to own this plan, that this is our plan. Sometimes there are some plans made, we are not involved in that, let them implement, let them do it. No, this is our plan. And therefore together we realize God's great plan for the Church in India. So therefore this is what we call the CCBI pastoral plan for the year 2033, which you will be hearing again and again. And surely we will be starting implementing at different levels, at the parish level, perhaps at the deanery level, at the diocesan level, at the commissions level, perhaps at the associations level of the people. And so in everything to say that we move unitedly towards the year 2033, which will be a great jubilee year. Finally, I take you to the jewel of the Archdiocese. Jewels are big, jewels are small. Jewels are so small that perhaps they shine and attract us. And so the jewel that I am going to speak of is a small jewel. Can a mission station be called a jewel? Surely. When our heart and soul is put into that mission, the Archdiocese has considered it as a jewel of our Archdiocese. The Church is missionary. We have just spoken about St. Francis Xavier, the patron of the missions. Perhaps that inspires us to consider Pavgada as also a jewel of the Archdiocese. Incidentally, Pavgada, the patron of Pavgada Church, the mission church, is also St. Francis Xavier. And so the Church needs missionaries. The Church is missionary itself. There can be no church without missions, and surely there can't be missions without the Church. So what is Pavgada, or where is Pavgada? Perhaps Karnataka, there are so many small places that we don't know. And Pavgada is a small taluka on the border of Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. In fact, when we take a vehicle, there is a certain portion we have to cross Andhra and come into Karnataka once again. So we travel in Karnataka, we go to Andhra, and then we come to what we say, the Pavgada, which is in Karnataka. Karnataka has got so many places that are so interior but beautiful, very resourceful, perhaps sometimes historical. I heard that many years ago Pavagada was a frightful place. They also spoke about one time Pavagada as being full of wolves. Not nowadays we may not find them. But today the town is known, the whole of Karnataka, for what we call the solar project. You see that miles or acres of land, there are these solar panels have been put and electricity generated, and Karnataka wants to take that as the model for the rest of the Karnataka itself and perhaps in India, to say that wherever there is a vacant place, wherever there is perhaps a heat generated, electricity can be produced to the solar cells. Let's make use of it. Now come to the mission of Pavagada. This mission was started by Archbishop Emeritus Bernard Morris in 2007. By the way, Pavagada is 165 kilometers away from Bangalore. Those that go in the morning can return in the evening. Perhaps those that use this what called the public transport, if they come today, they cannot go back today, they will have to go back tomorrow itself. It's so far away and the road is not that great. But Archbishop thought, perhaps being the border taluka of our Karnataka mission, perhaps we could take that and open a new mission there, which was opened in 2007. The first ones who opened the way for us were not the priest or the diocese itself, I could say, but the sisters. The sisters of St. Anne of Chennai were the first ones to go there. They daringly went to a place where there were absolutely no Christians. And the Christians at some perhaps time were also may not have been welcomed that much. But the sisters made a great decision. I say hats off to their provincial team, because many of the congregations today would like to remain in the city close by where there are conveniences, comforts. But these sisters went, and for 10 years they lived in a rented house, in a small rented house. Now of course they have a convent, and we also started a school, St. Francis Xavier School, public school, so that through the education we could reach out to the people. Since there are no Christians there, but our service is not restricted to Christians alone, but also to Hindus and Muslims. So we have St. Francis Public School rendering our service to the children, and the sisters of St. Anne are also there. Since about 5-6 years back, we have started posting a permanent priest there. A priest who will stay in that people in spite of not having Christian. Just 1 or 2 families are there. But that does not matter. Missions start in that way. Perhaps Bangalore also 200 years ago started in that way. There were some few people here and there, and some migrants who came and were the first generation Christians. And so Father Raja Rao was appointed in 2018 as the first parish priest, resident parish priest there, and he did well. And after 5 years, now we have a good and young priest by the name of Kanikadas, and he's the one who's looking after the school, the people, the mass, the sisters, everything else. He is very much enthusiastic. He is very good in media. He is very good in languages. He is good in communications, and he has already made friends among the non-Christians there, the Muslims, the Hindus, and also there are some Protestant people here and there. He has brought them together. Something special about Pavagada is not only the Pavagada itself, there is another mission that is close by, say about 45 to 50 kilometers away, where Father Kanikadas, along with the sisters, goes every Sunday after the Mass at Pavagada at 8 o'clock. He goes for 11 o'clock Mass there, and ideally, might be surprised who is there. There's just one family. But the others also appreciate the service of the Christians, and they also would like to sometimes come and pray with us, or maybe to pay homage to Our Lady, etc., to seek a blessing. So therefore he goes to a village called ID Halli. Besides, of course, every day there is Mass Eucharist in the place of Paugada, and so I say that Paugada, a small place like Bethlehem, but like the scriptures, they say, you, Bethlehem, shall not be considered the smallest, but because from you will come the Savior of the world. You know, Father Kanikadas has great plans to celebrate Christmas there. Surely he needs our support. And Christmas in the village, Christmas among the people, among the poor, that's the best Christmas that you can think of. And so I thank fathers who are there, Father Rajarao, and also Father Kanikadas now, and very especially the Sisters of St. Anne of Chennai, who started this mission and was zealous working in this mission. God bless them. God bless Paugada, perhaps one of our most, a small but a shining jewel of the Archdiocese.
The Shepherd's Voice, which is being presented by our beloved Archbishop, Most Reverend Dr. Peter Machado, the Archbishop of Bangalore, who takes so much of interest and concern in order to bring the various topics, the contextual aspects, in order to inform, educate, and catechize all of us, the priests, the religious, and faithful of this vast Archdiocese. And I'm sure you are enjoying this program, Shepherd's Voice, and I request each one of you to share with your other colleagues, friends, and family and relatives, near and dear ones, so that everyone in this Archdiocese can be more closer to listen to the Archbishop on this Shepherd's Voice, the weekly feature. My dear friends, as I've always told, that this is a wonderful platform wherein we can connect to the Shepherd of this Archdiocese, wherein he brings in the interesting topics in order to increase our devotion and love towards God, and also to know the spiritual matters that concerns our faith. In a very special way, you are most welcome to ask your questions, queries, and you can send them to us at archdblr@gmail.com, and you will also see our mobile number in and through which you can connect with our media center, Ave Studios, and the Archdiocesan Communication Center. Please do write to us your feedback, your opinions. Thank you. Continue to watch and continue to share with others.